Hey everyone, your favourite YouTuber. He's big, he's ginger. It's Body Betty. How you going, guys? Just doing a video. I don't know if it's going to be quick or long-winded. Um, yeah. So I want to show you a couple of things and I guess just have a bit of a chat. Probably nothing interesting. Who knows? See where this goes. So I've been making little spoon pendants. So hand carved. I'll just show you. I think some of you that know me personally would have seen these in other social media things. So I've only made one like this with the fork as well. Now, if you're wondering why they look that way, it's tiger myrtle. Tiger myrtle. It's like a Tasmanian wood. It's beautiful. That's like a type of spalting, but it's like looks like tiger stripes. Can you kind of see it there on the little fork? So yeah, you wear them. You wear them, okay? So there's that one. That one. That one's the macadamia I got from Queensland when I travelled. That one. And the back. Check it the back. Pretty cool, man. These are up for grabs for people that know me personally around Australia. Sorry guys to anyone overseas, because yeah, just I'll do them for 25 bucks each if you're keen, guys. Again, it supports me. It goes directly to Borry. Check this one out. This is my favourite one. Look at that. Right. Look at the back. See the. Look at those. Look at those. Look at that figure. Anyway. So I made a few of those. Another thing I want to show you. This is a spoon I made a while back. And my mum really supports me with my woodwork, but I took this spoon back. We always do little trades. Sometimes it's back and forwards. So I took this spoon back from my mum, but I said, oh, I'll trade her one day with another spoon. But check this out. It's actually for some reason, it's just my favourite spoon. It's she oak. I just love how the top kicks out. If you're wondering what that figure is, it's she oak. Alacazarina from around here. That was actually a log of this wood that had been cut up. So it got that nice dark. Yeah, I really like this spoon, just how it kicks out at the top. Yeah. Isn't it funny? Like you'd think, because I make this stuff that, you know, I got plenty on my own, and I don't. But no, I'm probably more attached to it than the people that often buy it off me, or you know. Yeah. So I thought I'd show you that. I feel like there was something else I was meant to show you. Maybe not. There is something I want to talk about. For a bunch of reasons. So yesterday. I definitely don't normally do this, but yesterday I felt tired, so I slept during the day. I actually slept today, because, yeah, it continued on. But anyway, I felt tired, so I slept during the day, and then I woke up. I was out in my little spot out in the woods, so I wasn't in town or anything, just a spot I stay. And I ended up, I couldn't sleep, and it was like past 1 a.m. and I thought, you know what? I'm going to head back into town, so Mount Gambier, which isn't too far from where I stay. I'm going to head back into town, go to the gym, and then I'll hit Macca's. Yeah. And so went to the gym. That was good. Now, mind you, keep in mind, this is Friday. Technically, it was got my times. It was Sunday early morning. So it wasn't Friday. I don't know why I said Friday. So I'd pull up into the Macca's car park, guys. And you would have heard me in other videos talk about how there are a lot of young people and, you know, in the country town and nothing to do. And, you know, there's certain places I won't stay because it's just overrun by young people. And, you know, I could be a real grumpy old fart like that, you know. But it's not, I don't really blame them. It's just more, you know, people are young and, you know, and I used to be quite, I guess, boisterous in my younger days. Anyway, so I pull into the car park and there's young people everywhere. There's all these cars. And I'm like, oh man, I've forgotten how crazy it can get at this McDonald's, because McDonald's is like, it's one of the only places open in Australia. I'm going to have a whinge. It's like the only place open in Australia that young people can go to at certain hours. And so you can imagine how much people flock to it. And it wasn't just young people. It was, some of them were my age and all sorts. Anyway, I go into this car park. And I can't see any parks. And I see a park. And as I drive up to the park with my van, there's 2 car doors open. And I kind of pull up so they can see me. And a kind of youngish, kind of adult guy, he's swearing, he's like, effing, he's lost it. He's, you know, because he has to shut the doors and, you know, because someone went and had to use the car park, right? So I'm like, oh yeah. And I'll just be blunt with you. He hadn't seen the size of me yet. He had not seen the guy driving that car yet. And so I pull up, and obviously he's gone quiet by this point. And I calm myself down by looking at my phone. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to... Because I was straight away like, hey, like, yeah, anyway. So I kind of wait a little bit, kind of like, calm down, Borry. And then I get out of the van, and his window's open, he's sitting there, and it's kind of like that, don't be suspicious, like, you know, pretend he doesn't exist. And I lean down, and I look in at him, like, as close as I can, with my hands on the car, you know, so you can see the size of my hands, and, you know, see me flexing. And I go, I said something like, with my ginger stare, say, mate, you got a problem with me? And he just looks at me like, you could tell he's already like, uh-oh. And he said something like, oh no, it's just, there's a lot of rubbish and stuff. And I said, mate, if I wanted to be rude, I would have beeped at you when your door's open. And I said, there wasn't any other parks, mate. And so I saw this one. I didn't even see your doors are there, mate, until I pulled in. So he's like, oh, and he said something like, oh, sorry, it's just we've made a mess here, which didn't make sense. But at this point, he was just trying to backtrack on his attitude. And then I just said something like, it's all good, mate. And I reached in my hand, I shook his hand, and it was really interesting because I had no malice towards this guy. In fact, I was thinking about him as I went into Macca's, and there's all these rowdy people and all of it, and drunk people. And I was sitting there and I'm thinking about him, and I'm like, one, I didn't have any malice towards him whatsoever. No anger. I wasn't even frustrated at him. I was sad. My heart went out to the guy. And as I was sitting there was a few things that kind of hit me hard. And one of them was, it's like that scripture, you're of the world, but it's like you live in the world, but you're not a part of the world. Don't be conformed to the ways of this world. I realized the environment I was in, I was an alien. I didn't belong there. I could almost hear it spiritually. It's like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. And it was like, well, shut up. You're going to have to tolerate me for a moment. And there's a few people, because I'm definitely one of those people when I'm in a room, I'm looking around, and even at church, I'll sit at church. I did it today, and it's just how I am, and I'll just look at people. And quite often God will ask me, what do you see? What do you see? So I'm constantly learning and seeing. One of the things I really, more in hindsight, was contemplating is just the look of emptiness in a lot of people's eyes. And it was almost like, oh, you're drunk. You're meant to be happy. You're young. You're meant to be happy. You're with your friends. You're meant to be happy. But no, it's just this empty come down, this disappointment, I went out with hopes. When I first went out tonight, it's like they had hopes. They went, yeah, I'm gonna meet someone. I'm gonna find love. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm gonna find something with meaning, something that inspires me, something that gives me hope. Yeah, maybe I'll find it this time. Or, you know what? Maybe they're not that immature. Maybe they're like, I just want to get numb tonight. I feel something good, maybe. And that's what I could see, that emptiness, that disappointment. It's just like, I'll just do this for half an hour. Did you think it froze? So it was made me realize how much I'm out of that environment in my van at most nights out here, and it made me grateful. It made me realize a lot of things that God's been doing with me. But another thing that I was thinking about, and these kind of interactions and stuff, where is God's always protecting me in different ways, even with my responses. But I want to say something, and I've said it in other videos. If you're filled up in here with love, with God, with all the good stuff, with the fruits of the Spirit, the gifts of the Spirit, the peace that comes from knowing God, all of it. What do you think comes out in a bad situation? All that good stuff. And sometimes turmoil, disagreements, getting caught up in a debate, it can show you what's in there. And I'm not saying there's nothing in me that isn't bad or needs work on. No, that's not true. There's definitely a lot of work I need. But every now and then, when there's been work done, like that scenario last night, I just had no malice towards this guy. But at the same time, I felt really good, and I'll tell you why I felt good is for all the things I think I don't confront, because I get very intimidated. I thought, I could confront this guy with his attitude. But I was able to confront him, but it wasn't, it turned out, just shake the hand, and it's all good, and you could tell the guy was like, yeah, oh yeah, he was really, I don't know, maybe he felt a little bit better after, I shook his hand and I said, it's all good, and maybe it's like the mother duck scenario. And I'll explain this. I was once with someone, and there was a tiny little duck with her little ducklings. It was really cute. And we were at a botanical garden, and I think I started this. It sounds like something I'd do. But I'm with this other person, and the duck's coming up hissing. And she's tiny. The duck is tiny. And it comes up hissing to protect its little ducklings. And we're pretending to be scared of the mum. We're pretending to be scared of the mum. I don't know why that made me cry. Because even though it was like a little game, in a sense, we're building her up. And even though the nothing in us was scared of this little duck that I could have just footy kicked, just booted the little duck. No, I wouldn't do that. We gave her a false sense of courage, You're a good mum. You're looking after your little ducklings. And maybe it was a bit of that I gave to the guy, And I guess the other feeling I got out of it is maybe I gave him a bit of hope, because he's like, oh man, this big guy, and I was carrying on, and this guy was just in his state. And it's like, he didn't respond with like malice and swear. I didn't repay him in kind. Instead, I was like, it's all good. Like, I even, not that I felt I needed to. I definitely didn't feel I needed to. But I explained the scenario. Said it's all good. I shook his hand. Said, we're all good, Maybe I gave him a bit of dignity back. Maybe he saw a little bit of what it's like to be a man in a world with I shouldn't say no, but very few men being men. Being able to confront an aggressor like a man. And say, hey buddy, I'm packing. But I'm also a gentleman, and I guess there was a lot of feelings and stuff I experienced in that moment, and maybe it was a little, and yeah, sure, it was a bit of excitement for a guy just living in a van. Sure, absolutely. I guess I'll take what I can get. Um, um, and I guess when I think about it, I try to be humble enough to see the good in every little scenario, and it's going to sound outrageous, but you'll often meet God in those scenarios. Even if it's just a glimpse, you'll meet God. It's true. There's a lot I could add to that, but I can tell you many times I've met God in those scenarios where, you know, there's a way the world would have handled something, and then there's something God shows you in a moment, and He protects you, and His grace and mercy are there, and something is seen and revealed to those spiritual eyes. And that's definitely what happened to me yesterday. And maybe it happens to me a lot. If I was to compare, I feel like it doesn't happen to me nearly enough. You know, that's one thing I have talked about with traveling is that adventure, the tales of valor and stories of great victories and the adventure, and I'm just straightening up the mustache. You know, living on the edge. I might have said this. Maybe it was just someone I said to verbally. Maybe I haven't said this on video. There was a video I did a little while back when I was traveling, and I was saying how I was driving through the mountains. It was raining, and I thought it was going to flood, and I could hardly see my headlights at the time, and that's where I lost the tire in the creek. But as I was driving back from that scenario that time, I was looking in the dense bush on the side of the road, like in these mountains. And I felt so vulnerable. I felt so vulnerable as I was plowing my van through them hills. And I couldn't see quite too properly with the headlights at the time. It was raining, and I just lost that tire, and I was on high alert, but I was alive, and I knew it. I was very much in the moment, and I remember I'll never forget this, and I'm in the moment, and I'm like, God, I know you have me, and like I said, I'll just plow on this van through these hills, just trying to get to a safe spot for the night. And I remember looking into the bush at one point and thinking it's wet there, and it's slopey, and it's wild. And I remembered how that felt. And I could smell the bush. It was earthy, it was wet. And it was just a sense of foreboding, and it was unforgiving. And I just had this thought, if I was in that forest, if I was in that bush right now, I know God wouldn't leave me. And on one hand, I felt extremely vulnerable. But call me mad, I felt God's hand holding me as I was, again, rappelling in through those hills, trying to find some flat ground, somewhere to stay the night. I could feel the hand of God holding me in that moment, going, son, I'm with you. And I was alive. I was on high alert. My heart was beating. And I say that, and I explain it with detail, and with all the feeling and emotion and stuff that was there. And I say that to you guys because maybe you've forgotten how that feels. Maybe you've forgotten how it is to live, to love, to feel vulnerable. And with all this, I wanted to say, often our experiences and things we're ashamed of, things we've gone through, we I guess in a sense we flinch with God. But I wanted to say something to you guys. God's plans for you, God's thoughts for you are all good. And whatever He puts you through, it's absolutely because it's needed. Nothing's wasted with Him. Nothing's wasted with God. Nothing's senseless and just done. So I want to encourage you. Maybe your thinking needs to change. Maybe your heart needs to change. Your perception of God has been twisted. Another God is speaking into your ears. And you find yourself flinching, hiding under a rock, hiding in the wine press. Maybe you've forgotten what God's like. Maybe you never really knew Him. So, I didn't know it'll kind of go that way with what I was talking about. Yeah, so, I don't even know what I'm going to call this video at this moment. How about I call it Adventure. I'm wasting this video time trying to think up a name. Call it something adventure, hey? Okay. So, thanks guys for watching, Big Borry. I went to a baptism today with a mate of mine and he watches my videos. So yeah, it's really awesome. It's pretty cold, the ocean where the southeast, where the waters are here, just at Port MacDonald there, the coast. Mount Gambier is not far from the coast. But the water's very cold there, and this mate someone had given him a dry suit. So it was completely dry underneath. And he was loving it, he got baptized and he wasn't even cold. And it was really sweet to see, obviously to witness and to be a part of this mate's baptism. To see him get birthed into something new, and this mate's particularly struggled with a lot of medical things. He's a real fighter. He looks like a real Viking, eh? He had his beard all plaited, my little thing here. I was trying to hide it like this. No, not really, but but he had a good turnout, and it was funny because himself and a lot of his family are gingers, fiery gingers, and I've got my ginger beard, and I was like, man, I look like I'm part of your family. That's pretty funny. Got to show. It's really sweet. I got to show a couple of people at different times today at church and at my mate's baptism. Just my van, showing my van. So that was really cool. And then because of my weird sleeping schedule, going off the story I told you about, I went and crashed at my mum's for a good amount of time. I've just kind of woke up. It wasn't long after I woke up that I've done this video. That's why I might seem a bit... I think my eyes are bloodshot. I don't know why. My eyes get bloodshot really easy, like if I have a shower. Most times when I have a shower, even if I don't get soap in my eyes, just from the water or whatever, my eyes will go bloodshot. Yeah, sometimes I'll just get irritated. Very sensitive eyes. Very sensitive eyes. Thanks guys for watching. Big Borry out. Cheers.